Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Natural 9, where we might actually hit 9 minutes this time. It was a pretty nice episode of Critical Role this week, and I'm just happy for a breather after everything that we've gone through in the last month or so. Definitely needed this. Sorry, someone's getting mad at me on the internet, and I need to go ahead and deal with them. Anyway, not much to report outside of the world of Critical Role other than my sincere congratulations to Matt and Marisha, who are finally engaged. Marisha, of course, announcing on Twitter via a really funny tweet. So go give the lovebirds your congratulations at Matthew Mercer and at Marisha_Ray on Twitter. Well, anyway, let's just get right back into the action. Or rather, the post-action, I suppose. Picking up where we left off last week, Voragol's dead, and so is Yank. Healith finally has the Spire of Conflux, and it's a gorgeous staff that has all sorts of really cool things, which we'll see a little bit later on in the show. But for now, things need to be harvested, dragons need to be carved up, and Kiki goes to work. An hour later, getting pretty much everything she needs. Scanlan grabs a scale, at first trying to pull one off of Voragol, but then ends up just getting one out of the snow. Starts looking for Tuma. Meanwhile, Grog, kinda coked out, decides to head straight for the lair. Straight for Voragol's former lair. Straight up heads there, doesn't even care. Still raging. Rage running. Runs past a group of Ravenites that are just showing up for the fight. Tells them where the dragon is. Vex and Scanlan follow because they need to keep Grog on a leash. The Dragonborn that they met earlier, Skork, and Kiki and Percy have a bit of a breakdown in communication where Skork reminds Kiki and Percy that he can understand them. Eventually they discuss how to divvy up the bits of Voragol that are left. Tuma and her group are about to check things out inside the throne room, you know where the treasure is. Vex warns her that Thordak might still be able to spy using those communication stones that he likes to use. Tuma heads back and confirms with Vox Machina, or the portion that's there, that Voragol is dead. Tuma commends Vox Machina for being able to keep their word, and she also thanks them. Grog is still rage running around. Scanlan makes 2 requests. Aid in their campaign against Thordak, specifics to be determined. Tuma's not exactly ready for that, but Vox Machina convinces Tuma to do something, or at least it's what we think they said, because the audio cut off there. The second thing, Tiberius Stormwind deserves a proper tomb. The tomb is to say, I encourage peace. Tuma agrees with that question. Rest in peace, buddy. So this beautiful, poignant moment where Scanlan makes a tribute to one of his dearest friends and favorite punching bags in Tiberius Stormwind is killed when Grog brings everyone back to Earth by shouting that he's looking for the booty, that thick dragon booty. And while Grog himself couldn't find anything because he was rage looting or rage shuffling or whatever rage thing he was doing, Scanlan is able to see what he was looking for. A whole bunch of loot, like a fuck ton. Gold, silver, jewels, art, armor, the works. Grog uses the siege damage feature on the Titan Stone Knuckles to get to it, breaking through the ice without a problem. Grog and Scanlan free the stuff after a bit. Titan Stone Knuckles and Fireballs used to great effect. And then Grog, before he starts actually looting everything, asks Tuma if it's okay to take some of this stuff for themselves. Tuma's totally cool with it because Vox Machina kept their word and helped them escape servitude under the dragon's reign. So she figures it's the least she can do. Grog finds a war mask, a fuck ton of gold, and a pretty black stone. Meanwhile, Scanlan finds a whole bunch of stuff. A golden portion of a ship's mast, a vial of some liquid unaffected by the cold metallic color, I believe. Some brown leather boots, maybe powerful, maybe just tasteful. The platinum bracelet with a sapphire, another unbroken vial with some yellow and black liquid, a double band of some kind of like a little braided band of things, and a platinum greatsword with symbols. Grog checks this for traps and immediately says that it's okay, because he rolls a natural 20. And then Our Lady Vex, the Secretary of the Treasury of Vox Machina, with the help of her compatriots, manages to bring together 18,000 gold pieces and 12,000 platinum pieces. So overall, their haul was about 138,000 gold pieces from this fight. I think they're pretty much set for the rest of forever with that money. Grog and Scanlan suggest running away and letting the rest of the world deal with the dragons, but the plan falls apart when Vex realizes that she's the Eve the situation. While all this is going on, Vax and Pike are healing up inside the mansion because, if you recall, they were the ones that took the most hits out of that fight, and having a little bit of God talk together. Vax is very much still worried about their compatriot Larkin. After all, where did Larkin go? Keyleth and Percy discover their spoils as well. 150 pounds of white dragon hide, 20 teeth, 6 claws, whole bunch of good stuff. Grog comes back and is emptying the bag of holding. A whole bunch of organic parts went really bad. It is, after all, why Matt loves the word slaw. His words, not mine. Kima, Percy, and Kiki start resting in the mansion. After their loot is collected, Grog thinks that taunting Thordak using those spheres is a good idea. Vex and Scanlan talk him down, saying hell no. Meanwhile, Vex speculates on whether or not the mast is actually part of a skyship. Apparently it isn't, according to the construction of it. It does have some runes on it that she doesn't quite recognize. The crew then reunites in the mansion, Percy fixing his guns, and spoils are discussed. A little bit of Vex Grog tease, because of course. Percy can actually read that blade that Grog has his eyes on. The runes around it mean creation, devotion, a deity's love. It's definitely a divine blade. Kima gets her hands on it. She thinks it could do her some good, so she heads to attune to it for a while. The crew thinks that giving the ship another look is a good idea. Grog introduces everyone to Stone Black, his black stone. It's apparently a black sapphire, according to Scanlan. It's Grog's new best friend. Keyleth unattunes her Ring of Protection for now to attune to the Spire of Conflux to learn what it does, and Keyleth manages to identify both the potions as a potion of speed, one that gives you haste for 10 rounds, and a potion of invulnerability, which gives you half damage towards everything for 10 rounds. Vex manages to identify the boots as boots of feral leaping, boots that basically give you Hulk jumps, and they don't attune. This shit was made for Grog. And Scanlan attunes to a Ring of Invisibility. It's apparently a ring that lets him cast invisibility as an action. Minor invisibility, so you still drop out of it if you perform an action, but the fact that you can just use it infinitely, that's awesome. Kima finally comes back, and she has officially attuned to what we now know is a Holy Avenger, one of the coolest blades in the game. With Kima very happy with her new Holy Avenger, Grog makes a move for her old Holy Maul, but she's cool. Grog discovers that his mask is a mask, but it's definitely one that inspires fear. The crew then head downstairs to the danger room, except for the twins, who go to an apparent new wine room. Keyleth and Grog decide to do a bit of training to see what the Spire of Conflux can do, and what it can do is amazing. It has 20 charges by default, gains back 1d6 plus 4 charges every single day, and depending on the amount of charges burned, it can do all sorts of attacks. Fireballs, chain lightnings, conjuring elementals, all just awesome things that it can do. Except in the eyes of Grog, who doesn't get really hurt by anything that Keyleth throws at him because of the spire, so he automatically assumes that it sucks, and takes pity on her. Poor Kiki. While that's happening, the twins are sharing a Pinot Noir, apparently Le White Meat brand, because of course it's chicken wine. It's not actually chicken wine, it just has the label. Vax congratulates Vex for the kill, and then has a little bit of a heart-to-heart. Vax very clearly just wants Vex to stop torturing herself and just tell him. And of course, Vex has her own excuses that the timing is wrong. Vax says, fuck timing, just be happy. Also, he's a bit fucked up in the head, so we watch out for him. Who could he be talking about? Wink, wink. But he gets drunk off his ass too, off of some cheap-ass chicken wine. Before the break happens, Kiki and Percy are commissioned by Grog to combine his fancy battle helmet, you know, the rhinoceros, with the mask, making a sort of combination, a horde mask thing. You know, they figure they got nothing better to do, so they make it, but they decide to mess with Grog a little bit on presentation by having Keyleth turn into an elephant, and having them ride out of the forge to present it to Grog in a grand fashion. Unfortunately, they underestimate the size of the stairway to get to Grog, and they also underestimate Grog's stupidity, and Scanlan's love of messing with Grog as well. So it ends up becoming a quote-unquote encounter. It's an actual encounter. This really does happen. Grog manages to defeat the elephant, and Keyleth convinces Grog that he just saved her life. She was eaten by the evil elephant, and Grog helped her. Grog is pleased. Then the crew rests, and the next morning they go and check out the boat. The boat is unfortunately pretty useless. It's broken, and apparently it is just a keepsake of Orgul's. I can read the runes on the mast. Apparently it's a dwarvish ship called the Flowbreaker. boat meant to travel through icy waters. The crew still thinks that there's something cool inside the boat, so they try to break into it. Grog punches the ice and gets through, and unfortunately also breaks part of the throne area where the stones are. Meanwhile, Vax is scouting up ahead on the throne, very nearly falls off after Grog destroys part of the throne with his punches. And as a result, it might be time for them to get the hell out of Dodge because Thordak may know what just happened. Kiki then gives one last present to Tuma and the Ravenites. She heals the plants of the local area. Grog and Kima have a little bit of a sparring match. Vax and Scanlan have a literal pissing contest. And then Vex and Percy have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. Vex tells Percy the reason why she carved the Elvish word for forgiveness on Fenthras was because she had to learn to forgive herself, and she was happy to see that Percy had forgiven Ripley as one of his final acts, also reminding him that maybe he should forgive himself as well. Just discussion about who they were and how they grew as people, and how they could be better people than they think they are. The conversation ends, Percy walks away, then comes back and plants a big old kiss on Vex, telling her that they'll talk later. And with that mic drop, the episode ends. Let's get it, motherfuckers! And we've reached the end of a really lovely episode. Was that everything you could have dreamed of? Sound off in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. And you can follow me on Twitter here, and you can follow this Twitter for episode updates. I've been Arthur from Natural 9, and is it Thursday yet?